Hi everybody, this is my 20-gallon open-topped office tank, and not too long ago, maybe a week ago, I shot a video where I was talking about my temple plant that's in this tank. Now you can see this big, nice branchy part coming up there in the middle. That looks like the central part of the plant, but it's really not. It's actually a branch that has grown off of this mess over here, and this is the original main branch of the plant. It fell over and has been just sort of growing back up towards the light, and so all this stuff down here is a combination of roots and branches and leaves that have been falling off, and I kind of like it, but at the same time it really does look like a disheveled mess, and the plant itself doesn't look particularly good, whereas directly under the light that actually does look pretty good. And I used to have a big central plant growing up out of the center of the tank. Looked much like what my current gudgeon tank looks like downstairs. I got a great big temple plant growing up right out of the middle of that one. So I threw it out there to get people's opinions on whether or not I should leave it looking all natural and sort of mangrove rooty, or should I trim the tank up and clean it up and, you know, give it an old whackety chop and get it looking good. And I really got a mixed review. I really expected most people to say clean it up, with a few people saying that they tend to like it, you know, looking like this. But, you know, again, yeah, 50-50. I didn't really count, but it seemed about a mixed review on what I should do. So I think it's time to get this tank maybe cleaned up a little bit. I had set it up for my German Blue Ram. The German Blue Ram's no longer in there, so I've brought the temperature back down. I probably don't need that air stone in there anymore, but it's kind of hard to even tell that it's in there. I really generally don't like bubbles in a tank, but since you can barely even see them, we may just leave that alone. I don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to do with it now that I'm actually thinking about changing it, but I definitely think I'm going to change it. I'm going to get in there and get that temple plant out and probably do something with the sort of centralized temple plant right there in the middle. But other than that, I'm not really sure what to do. If I should change the scape, maybe rearrange the other plants that are still in there. I don't know. So I guess we'll find out. I'm going to get in there and start tinkering around. We'll just see where the day takes us, and we'll see what we end up with. So give me a little bit. We'll call that your before. And there's your after. So I really got in there and pulled all of that temple plant out. And it wasn't really thoroughly rooted in. There's not a lot of substrate there to get rooted into, but the roots did trail all around, and so when I pulled it out, it disrupted the mulm and everything that was in the gravel. So I was able to get in there while it was pulled apart, and I did a really good gravel vac. I got a lot of really gross stuff out of there. I pulled the whole wad of fern that was in there, that Java Windelov you can see. Some of it broke off. That's grown sort of through and into my little fake cave back there. So that stayed in. I then broke a chunk off of the huge masses I have, and I stuck that back in after I had replanted that one main branch. I cut off some of the lower leaves there. I missed that one in the back. I honestly didn't even see that one in the back. And then that piece of fern right here, you can see, is actually coming off this piece. I don't know why, but it wants to grow sideways compared to all the other ones. But that's from that same chunk of rhizome. So we started over from one single chunk of rhizome down there with the fern, and that's going to take some time to grow back in. And then, of course, the one single cutting of the temple plant there. Now, what I did down here was I repositioned the rocks that were already in there to some degree, and then I put these two rocks on either side of it. They're kind of pinching it, but at the same time, there's actually some contoured shape to the rocks, so they're not actually compressing it. They're just sort of holding it in place. And then this rock here is just there for the visual appeal. I'm almost positive that is a piece of petrified wood I found, but I'm not 100% sure. But it looks exactly, I thought it was wood when I picked it up. I couldn't believe it was actually a rock. But it's even got the same curvature of a piece of wood. It's got texture. You can see the grain in it. You can even, on the end, you can even see what looks like pores in it. So I'm pretty sure that's a piece of petrified wood. But I don't know. But anyway, I like the way it looks. So that's just kind of in there for aesthetic appeal to give us something to look at. Other than that, I took the piece of wood that was at the far end of the tank. This was at the right end of the tank. I now moved it down here to the left end of the tank, just because this end down here was already getting a little cluttered with all the stuff we've got going on. So I figured we'd move that down here. I wiped the glass down, and I did about a 5-gallon water change. Nothing amazing. What I did do was run out in the yard and slap together one of my little miniature gardens here. So what this is a little bit of, I believe this is going to be Japanese painted fern. If it's not painted fern, then it's going to be autumn fern or something really similar, possibly ghost fern. But I think this is Japanese painted fern. We've got a few small daylilies. I've actually got a few really small hostas back there. And of course, we've got all of this, which looks like dead weeds and roots and stuff right now. But that's all creeping Jenny. And it's all doing well, believe it or not. And it is all planted in here. We've got just enough aquarium gravel to cover the bottom. Then we've got about 1 inch of potting soil. And then I've got moss from the yard packed on top of it, just to sort of give it a little bit more visual appeal. And no doubt there's seeds and little weeds and all kind of who knows what little surprises we're going to have coming up in the moss there. It won't be anything spectacular, but it'll be stuff, you know. It'll be little tiny wildflowers and little clovers and, you know, again, who knows what. Little bits of grass and stuff will come up in that. And so it'll be interesting to watch as that develops. Maybe we'll actually get some small daylily flowers. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see. My main concern, my main goal is to get some sort of cascading action with the creeping Jenny. And if we can even get it to flow across the water surface and get some flowers going, you know, it'll sort of hide the filter at this end and we'll have the flowers down here. This by then will be, you know, I think it's huge fast. So that'll be all taking up space and looking good. Hopefully it will stay upright. If it doesn't, I can do up here what I did to the one downstairs in my gudgeon tank, and we can prop it up rather than let it fall over like I did with the last one. So there you go, everybody. That's my new cleaned up look to my 20-gallon open top office tank. So thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you on the next one.